Today I had an easy day. I had to go to Crystal Lake, Cartersville, Rochelle, Mount Morris, Freeport, Rockford, and then come back. That was easy.
Mount Morris, like almost 100 miles away.
Well, if this isn't
Something like that.
gonna count.
I was going to go to Gator tomorrow, but I guess I'm not going to.
I gotta go to Oak Grove Village tomorrow morning and do that written test.
Hey, you know, have you guys been able to log on to the, that site? For
No.
the class we're supposed to take, or the,
No, the open meetings
Yes,
act
yes,
from
yes.
Swami
Yeah, whatever.
Kilpatrick or whatever.
Right,
it is.
exactly.
Yeah, no, his website's been down ever since the election,
okay.
so you kind of get a pass for right now.
Probably Russians.
I know, so we took Facebook down today.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
it's down.
Yeah,
I didn't miss it.
it was frozen all day on the same.
They claim it wasn't hacked, but I'll bet you. You wait.
The school district got hacked.
McHenry,
Yeah. Last year,
they hold you hostage?
400,000.
You paid it?
Yeah.
They paid it?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's cheaper just to pay it than to fight
Yeah.
it.
Well, only
So they
town.
thought in Florida.
I wasn't too happy about that, but it wasn't.
So you don't store your stuff off-site through a third-party backup?
Probably do now.
All I know is they told us that it was paid. They didn't tell. They didn't ask us.
How much?
No, they didn't ask the board. It wasn't up to the board to say yes or no. They just found
But
it.
that's
to be-
something-
I think I'd have to ask you guys.
Yeah, right.
The superintendent only has a spending limit of X. I mean, I would think it's less than 400,000, or
Yeah.
it's gotta be significantly less than 400,000. I don't remember what
They didn't. They told us it happened. They didn't ask us our opinion about it.
Well, it's because they couldn't run school, that's
Well,
why.
the problem with paying them, even though it's cheaper, is because then other ones do it.
You figure you have the insurance to cover it. That's why they ask for as much as they do.
That's possible. Might have insurance for it. Speaking of that, do we have insurance for something like that?
I don't know.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, it's just, you know.
Good question.
It is a good question. I never thought about it.
Note to self, until we get insurance for that.
Okay. It's now on the list.
It is now.
Debbie, no.
She knows everything.
Pretty much.
I know. I hate to admit it, but yeah.
So, yeah, we can probably grab some. I don't think these guys are necessary.
You know what?
These two right here probably won't show up.
You're probably right about that. You need
So what I'm doing is moving chairs outside in the, for fairness reasons, we'll start the meeting with everybody in the room, but I would ask all the applicants to go outside and we'll call you in one-on-one.
What was the question about insurance? Pardon me?
If someone hacks our system, to be insured, members, they say they demand $100,000.
Well, that might be.
On our former, you mean? I believe so. I forget what it is, but I believe yes. I just
I'm pals with Matt and Sean at Torma. And ask them.
It's probably covered through X-Cal.
I'll use one every evening.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It feels like whatever.
I'm guessing you're Michelle.
I am.
You got like a 1 in sixth chance of figuring out who, I don't remember you.
No, 1 and 4,
1 and 4, that's right.
because 2 aren't showing up.
That's right.
So my eyes got better.
And you introduced yourself to me before too.
I'm the first one on the list.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're not here from Halo.
No, it's Mr. Watson. Reach out for him?
Yeah. Hey, you're gonna make it tonight? Yeah. Neil's running late, he just got into town, so he'll be here. So Danielle, do we technically have a quorum or not?
I'm sorry, what?
Do we technically have a quorum or not?
Nope.
Okay, so we have to
Well,
wait
yeah.
for Neil.
Yeah, you count.
You count, 3 of us are here.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
It takes 3.
So I guess this is a little different process than past, but I guess the reason I recommended it to the trustees, just having casual conversation here, is that there's been a lot of call for transparency. So that's why I've chosen to do it in an open meeting format. But still, from a fairness standpoint to each applicant, that's why I asked, we'll bring you in one-on-one. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order at the special meeting, the trustee special board meeting. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
So, just a couple housekeeping items up front. Roll call. Macredo? Here. Yeager?
Here.
Shepler? Absent. And then Barlow, which is myself, I'm here today. So just a couple housekeeping items I think most of you have already heard. We're going to ask you to leave the room here in a second. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask them now. There's typically a public comment section. So if you have something you wish to bring up, you can bring it up now, or we can move forward with the interview process. I know how fun this can be. So if I may, I would ask that you, the applicants. Oh, Adam, never mind. You have public comment?
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I just put it there because the interview process.
Oh,
So, no, I don't.
okay.
He's being extra thorough there.
There you go. So we've got a few chairs out there, and I guess we'll make this easy. Thank you. Thanks.
So where do you want me?
Anywhere you feel comfortable. I just-
Yeah, just make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the hot seat, so.
They're all hot.
No, they're not. We're not. They're not. They're not hot. Since there's no public comment, I'm just taking some notes here, just to make sure we capture everything. Okay. I don't know, who wants to start? I guess, Fred, I'll start from the standpoint of, you submitted an application that was on time and everything else. If you just give us a little bit more about your individual background and what interests you in becoming a township trustee, you know, kind of a broad stroke of.
Good question. A, the position popped up. B, I've always considered doing something, but until I retired 2 years ago, I didn't have the time to devote to it. Now I've got the time and I'm looking to help out whatever way I can.
Okay. There was some information that was presented, or actually, yeah, it was presented through the Township GOP. I've got a couple questions, and it's more repetitive, I guess, from the standpoint of, you know, they asked a bunch of things, you know, regarding the Republican Party, and it's, you know, number one, what's your feeling about their question, are you a Trump supporter?
How much time do we got? My personal opinion, somewhere 20 years ago, the parties flip-flopped. What it used to be, or what it was considered to be a Democrat in the 60s and a Republican in the 60s, have flip-flopped today.
Okay.
I'm a Trump supporter because he had a lot of good ideas. He was maybe too flamboyant in presenting them, but they were, for the most part, right on.
I don't know, John, or?
The only other question I have several, but,
Yeah.
I'm going to start out with the basic question. Do you know the boundaries of the township? In other words, you know, which citizens are we trustees for?
Not all the boundaries. I'm familiar with my area.
We include Wonder Lake, part of Wonder Lake. You're
Okay.
responsible to the citizens there. The city of Mchenry, the unincorporated areas of Passaic Highlands, Ringwood. Am I forgetting any? Parts of McComb Lake?
Parts of McCollum Lake.
I think I got one. It's the areas we, you know.
Lakemore,
Lakemore.
Yeah.
Parts of Lakemore, very small part.
and a little bit of Bow Valley.
True.
Well, I'm sure looking at a map, I can get up to speed.
No, I'm just wondering if you're familiar with it. Just, you know, looking at your question here, the only question I have for you is that you answered the question on supervisor salary. Should be at $12,000. And that's sort of, me personally, I don't know if I take the job for $12,000. So I guess, I mean, do you think that's a good rate to pay for a supervisor?
Well, It depends, is it a full-time or part-time job?
Well, right now it's a part-time job.
Well, I mean, obviously you should cover your expenses and have a stipend in there too. It shouldn't be your only means of support.
Okay. How about if it's a full-time supervisor?
Pardon me?
Full-time supervisor, what do you think the pay should be?
Depends on the skill level needed. Could be as low as 50, 60, could be pushing 100. I mean, you know, if you need, depends on somebody like the highway commissioner. If you need some engineering background or whatever, obviously the rate should be higher to compensate the fact that you have to get a degree or whatever. If it's just management, like a foreman in a factory, you know, 50, 60,000 should be fine.
Do you know what services the township provides? Are you familiar with the services?
Well, I know it provides busing for elderly and, you know, food pantry and stuff like that.
So the township is responsible for distributing general aid.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
The township, the supervisor's position, is essentially responsible for distributing general aid. That's pushed down from the feds to the state to the county down to us. And we're responsible for distributing that general aid. But we also have we have the ability to do things like build a park for the community. But again, that's a community decision. Those are things that, I guess those are things you would learn as you go along the way. There's a bunch of classes that I'm going to have to take in my new position to learn also because I was a trustee. Because there is a division in this government setup where the road commissioner is elected. Yes, the supervisor is the de facto treasurer. The clerk is the de facto clerk for the township, but the assessor's office runs underneath the supervisor's office. But again, Mary is her own office.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere in here, and I'm pretty sure it was your information, you talked about there's too many units of government. Was that you? Or am I getting my people mixed up here?
I don't remember saying anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay, then I must be mixed up. I apologize. The reason I ask is that, do you believe there's too many units of government? And is
Well, it depends on what you mean by a unit.
So the last go around that went around, Mike?
Well, you know, what I'm thinking is like the road, when they buy equipment and stuff like that.
Correct.
You know, if each one is independent, yeah, there's too many units because if you could combine the purchasing, do it, you know, where have each township, you know, buy from a central, central is the wrong word, but, you know, if they can combine their buying power,
yeah, it's like,
they can get a better deal when they purchase equipment and stuff like that.
be like forming a co-op. Let's say
Exactly.
you're all independent grocery stores and to buy your canned goods. If you get 10 stores buying together, it's better than one store buying individually.
Exactly.
So there is some of that is done already. Actually, there's a lot of it done already. On the township website, if you go to the road commissioner, you'll find there's a lot of intergovernmental agreements. One township may do striping and the other one does paving. And they'll exchange services for each of the townships. So there's a lot of that that's already been gone on. I guess, go ahead, John, if you've got
Well,
that.
back to your first question,
Yeah.
Gary. Under consolidation, this was one of your answers that you checked. We need to be looking for legislative solutions that will help eliminate some of the nearly 7,000 units of government. I think that gets to your original question
Yeah,
here.
that might.
I do agree with your statement that townships are the closest form of government to the people. There's no doubt about that. I guess that's what Gary was referring to.
Yeah.
When you checked off, we need to be looking for legislative solutions that will eliminate some of the nearly 7,000 units of government. That might be true, but going through your answer sheet here, it didn't look like you were in favor of eliminating townships or consolidating them.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
Okay, that figure is 7,000 units of government it's not accurate. It's been the same number for years. I have no idea what it really is. I have no idea why they don't correct it, but it's a fictitious number.
But we're not debating the number of units here, Bill.
I know that,
It's the idea that.
but when you think of 7,000, that was the first thing that I was opposed to the township. That was the only thing that I was opposed to the township when I was running, is because, yeah, it does all this good, but there's too many units of government. But there isn't really. Now that I'm into it and I learned, there isn't 7,000 units.
To answer your question, Dan, and yours as well, I suppose. I was really involved in not eliminating the township. And the biggest reason was the dollars. Because the township gives us so much more to the community for less dollars than the county could. Because at that time, they were looking to consolidate Mchenry Township to the county. And we did, the cost study they did was illegitimate. We did one of our own. It was clearly proven that the township can do much more for the taxpayers' dollar. And that's all I have on that.
Well, the one part of that statement that I had a problem was with the use of the word legislative. I mean, there's way too many laws on the books to begin with. So,
I agree that the public party wrote this. It wasn't our question here. It was
Yeah.
theirs. Okay, let's get that right. You know. The only other question I have for you is that the highway commissioner, you said you should be at $12,000 as well.
I did it in a hurry.
Okay, all right, just.
So, you were a business owner.
Correct.
You own a machine shop,
Correct.
down in Lake Zurich area, if I'm not mistaken. Wakanda, yeah. From what you've learned in running a business, now retired, and, you know, what do you think will translate to helping us here in the township?
I'm pretty good at shuffling through paperwork, reading, and analyzing stuff.
Sure.
I guess what I get from Gary's question is, what can you bring to this board that would make us a better board?
Yeah.
A lot of experience running a business. Because small.
I'm not saying it's a correct answer, I'm just.
No, I know. But a small business, you wind up wearing a lot of different hats.
Every
You
day.
know, every day. And it's literally every day. I mean, you don't work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I mean, it's
Correct.
7 days a week.
When you were working, you said you didn't have much time for community service. What were you involved in any? And are you involved in any today?
Yeah, my oldest one, when he went to Johnsburg High School,
Yep.
I toured school and that. I ran into the machine shop teacher, obviously, and I had talked to him. Wound up talking to them. They had a problem with their forklift, and they were using it to transport skids of paper, from the loading dock to the printing room, and so I helped. In fact, I wound up donating our old forklift to them, and they're still using it. I had a CNC machining center we weren't using. I donated it to the high school. Dummies came over in a landscaping trailer and took it to the high school and nearly destroyed it.
Yeah.
Circuit boards vibrate, but that's a different story. The high school had, I helped on, they got skills testing they do once a year. I was on board, committee, whatever you want to call it, advising them for a couple of years.
I don't really have much. The information that we received was fairly interesting, and I've hit on the high point. Do you have any questions for us?
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the duties of a trustee?
Not completely.
So the duties of a trustee,
Go ahead.
yeah, the duties of a trustee here in the township is more of an oversight position, and then also assisting the supervisor in setting a strategic direction. Essentially, I work for the board. The board sets the direction, and whatever you want to try to accomplish as the township board, that's what I'm charged to execute from that standpoint. It's not the other way around. You guys, it's not necessarily a rubber stamp, where there are some units of government that can be rubber stamps, but this is one where we're looking for somebody who wants to get involved, somebody who wants to help set the strategic direction. We believe that, or at least I believe, and I have to convince these guys, is that where we were previously in the last 4 years is that where we want to try to get back to in providing those services. For instance, one of the first acts that happened when we became a new board is that we asked the supervisor to reinstate the bus service, because we feel that that was critical based on all the information that I'd received from, those are the services that, from a political standpoint might not necessarily fit, but I guess it's really a position where do you want to serve the people?
Well, I enjoy asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I would like to ask. Here, I am the clerk, and normally I don't vote. In the case of a tie, which there's right now 3 trustees and 1 supervisor. So in the event of a tie, then I make the deciding vote. So I would like to ask you just a few questions.
Sure.
Why do you think, why would you like to be a trustee?
Because
The pay?
the township is the closest to the people or whatever. I'm not interested in like getting into politics at the state level. I mean, but helping out in the community, whether it's through the township, through the school board, or something, but on a local level.
Good. Why do you think what do you think you would add to the township? I think you've actually.
I don't know.
Yeah.
From what I see, they're a pretty salty bunch already, aren't they?
Pardon me?
I said, from what I see, you guys are a pretty salty bunch already, so I don't know if I can add to it.
No, I think you actually answered that with you being a small business owner. Do you realize what the job entails?
Not in detail.
Okay.
See, one advantage of being a small business owner is it's your money that you're spending. It's not somebody else's money. So you flip that dollar over quite a few times before it parts your hand.
Correct.
Okay. And then just one more. Do you know the pay you would receive?
No, but I'm not really interested in.
That's very good, because there isn't a pay.
So that's not a problem. I'm not doing it to get rich.
You won't.
I don't believe any of this.
That's all I have.
Neil, did you have anything?
I was just catching up here. I'm sorry for being late. I was on the road today, so.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, if you don't have any specific questions that I can answer, I'm available all the time if you want to give me a call.
Okay.
And we thank you for coming out this evening. And we're really not a salty group of guys. We're I guess, if anything, we're probably a little salty because of the previous board. We got a big job ahead of us, and we're trying to make sure that we select the right trustee that's going to help us get back to where we need to go. Sure, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Fred.
Okay.
You don't have to leave
Thank
now.
you.
Pardon me?
He doesn't have to be.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, no, you can stay.
Okay.
I don't think Dennis showed.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him tonight or tomorrow.
Wait a minute, I'm looking.
We have his information. He applied.
Really? That must be the last one.
No, Dennis is the second one on the list.
It's not on the list, but the paperwork.
Dennis
I think
is
so.
here.
Yes.
This is Jeff.
Okay. Just give us 1 second, Mr. Chairman. So I'm gonna, you know, we talked about being transparent and everything else. I'm going to take a step back from this one and let you guys interview Jeff. I'm currently involved with Jeff on the community club and also the Township Lions Club. So I'm gonna let you guys interview
Appreciate
him.
that. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Any questions for me?
I lost my question. No. Okay. Why would you want to be a trustee?
I think it's a unique opportunity to get a look into what the township does and how they do it, and then also to make sure that their spending is going to the right places for services that are needed, that are wanted.
And what do you think you would add to the township by being a trustee?
I think be able to bring a little bit of overseeing with the current position that I hold professionally. It's you know, I run projects, so I'm used to oversight and making sure things are done on time, within budget, not frivolous spending, wasted, or anything along those lines. So I feel that with my professional job that I'd be able to bring a lot of that over. And
What is the job that you do right now?
I'm a project manager
Okay, for what?
for Sayers. It's an IT firm.
Okay. And do you realize what the job entails?
Yeah, I have a good understanding of what the ask is of what the position is.
Do you know what the pay you would receive?
That I do not know.
It's zero.
Okay.
All right, that's all I know.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the duties of a township trustee?
A little bit. I've done some research to try to educate myself as much as I can, but it seems to vary from different township or village to village on what the requirements are. But the overall, yes, I have an understanding of providing oversight to the village to make sure that, or to the township to make sure that the programs in place are being completed in a timely fashion and money is not being wasted and allocated to the right projects and being utilized at proper terms.
Do you know what the borders are of the township?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what the borders are of McHenry Township?
The borders? I did not know. I'm sorry.
Villages and towns are part of our
I
township?
don't know every village. No, I do not. So,
It's really not that hard. I just want to make sure you realize that we're not part of the city of McHenry.
sure.
You know,
Yep.
even though the city of McHenry is within the township borders, just make sure you're aware of that. We have Ringwood, unincorporated areas of Passaic Highlands, unincorporated areas of Lakemore, Ringwood, parts of the Cow Lake. I'm sure I forgot one or two at this
Bull
point.
Valley.
Bull Valley, right.
Expand on your professional background a little bit more. What are the duties of, say, being a project manager, some of your
Sure.
qualifications?
So, I mean, day to day are making sure project goals or tasks are being completed, along with, you know, keeping upper management informed of progress, any kind of roadblocks or risks that getting in the way, trying to find reasons of why they're there, finding ways to get around them the quickest way, keeping communication open with all the teams and people that are involved with my team, along with making sure that any milestones that we're scheduled to hit, we do.
Are you involved in overseeing budgets and things of that nature? as
Yes,
well? Okay.
absolutely, yeah, 100%. So, you know, I go from writing the statement of work to accepting the payment, processing it, making sure we're staying within time. If we have to ask for more budget, writing change orders, change requests, going through that process as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
why the current interest in becoming a township trustee? I don't want to call it senior daily meetings or,
Well, I mean, I think it's to get a better understanding of the township that I live in. So I'm incorporated in Mchenry, and to try to understand better, where the money's going, where my money goes. I've participated in my local community, and I'd like to try and see what it looks like on a bigger scale, and again, what the township is doing with everybody's taxpayer money.
do you know what some of the services that we provide are?
Township for the, the roads, plowing, snow removal, road repair. In my neighborhood, you guys have done the culverts and things of that nature, so.
That would be the road district.
Correct.
How about the township?
That would be all kinds of services, you guys, for community support, people in need.
So general assistance, if the people in need, the senior bus program, the food pantry.
So I mean,
we have a senior center.
correct, yeah, and I mean, we do a lot of that with the Lion stuff now, where we're involved in community support, so yeah, very used to it, but we'd like to see it on a different level, that's all.
What is the best, what can you help us as a board? How can you improve us? Help us improve, I should say.
Sure, I think bringing some youth and some different avenues or different ways of maybe doing some things to get things accomplished at maybe a more quicker but more efficient task planning. Maybe there's something in the budget that could be saved doing something a little differently. Sometimes it's things are overlooked or done a certain way for so long that sometimes younger people or other eyes are good to have and to get some opinion in. So
I agree with that last statement for sure. New eyes are always good vision. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
What are your political aspirations?
to try to help my community the most that I can with the amount of time and expertise that I have that I can provide and give.
So the one question that I will ask, and I'll just make it even that I ask everybody, is that the information that was provided from the township GOP, who makes a recommendation, they asked you, are you a Trump supporter?
Mm-hmm.
What do you believe that is, and are you?
Yes, I am, 100%.
Now, you know, as a trustee, you're not going to get paid anything, correct?
Correct.
What do you think a full-time supervisor should make?
0.
Wow, okay.
That's cool.
Supervisor doesn't even make money, or else we wouldn't get people like Gary to want the job.
He didn't want
I
to.
don't know if that's necessarily.
He didn't want it.
I think I fell forward.
It was 3 against 1.
Correct.
No, all kidding aside. No, I'll address that quickly, is that from the standpoint of why I decided to do it, is my involvement in the community since I moved here 27 years ago. It wasn't 2 weeks and I ended up part of the Lions Club, and then also in the Johnsburg Community Club, and then also becoming, having worked at those things, I was asked if when there was an open position here, just like you, whether I want to do it. And similarly, it's what can I do beyond the Lions and the community club, and how can I help more people? That's the goal. It's really, I believe, in this position now, more so than I did when I was a trustee, from a helping people standpoint and watching what happened over the last 4 years. That bus is vital for certain people. And once the word gets back out and we get past this pandemic, hopefully we'll get much more increased ridership, and we'll be able to get those folks working in to and from the doctors and things like that. So I don't have anything else. If you guys don't, no. Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
You can say it secondly.
Yeah. Should have told him Tom's not here.
Right.
Tom's not
Yeah,
here.
Tom's over here. And you said you didn't hear from Dennis?
I did not hear from Dennis. I will reach out to him. I called him and sent him an email, to let him know there was a need.
I feel like I'm on trial.
You're not on trial, by the way.
I know.
This is a friendly exchange.
They say that about gunfire.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say thank you for taking the time out of your evening to come and through the interview process and also the application process. We also thank you for filling out the additional information from the Mchenry Township Republican Party. We have that information, and I've had an opportunity to review it. And I guess I'll start with the questioning from the standpoint of what do you believe the job of a township trustee is?
In a nutshell, to be the voice of the community. And that's pretty much what sums it up.
Okay. Do you believe that the current township in the last month have been doing okay?
I'm glad you only went to the last month.
I guess from the standpoint of the services that have been provided in the past, and what I've told them is that the plan is to try to return it back to where it was prior to the previous board.
Good.
Bottom line. So that's what we're trying to do. Do you
I'm very
believe those are
excited
the
about that.
things that the folks in the township are really looking for?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I was very happy to hear the bus service is restored. Even if it's only $1 donation, it's still, for me personally, my 74-year-old disabled mom lives with me. I work all the way out in Gurnee, so there's some doctor's appointments I can't get her to. So having that service restored was a godsend. And when I told her about it, she almost started crying. She's like, $1? They're gonna get more than $1. I'm like, the whole point was that the service was restored. So I'm glad that it's gonna go back. Sometimes going backwards isn't always the worst thing.
Correct. I'll turn it over to the trustees.
The only question I have at this point is, what do you think you could bring as a person to the board? How can you help us become a better board?
Well, you guys are trying to bring back the old, and I'm new. I'm charismatic, I'm honest, I'm a people person, and I feel like I can bring people and put them in these seats so they could be more of a contributing force and understand what the township is actually trying to do for them. I think I can communicate that to my followers and my community effectively.
I know you're aware of the bus service because you've talked about that. What are some of the other services the township provides? Are you familiar with them?
I love the road district. Not the last storm, but the storm before, one of our neighbors had a weeping willow tree that just fell. I mean, the wind took it down. And the road district was right on top of it. Got out there, got the tree out of the road, helped get it, disposed of. Personally, I think our roads are much better taken care of with snow plowing and the salting than some of the other roads I've traveled on.
We agree with you.
Well, she can get out of her subdivision, what she just said.
I have a Passat, and I was with bad tires at one point. I was able to get out of my subdivision, so yes. Love the road district.
No, I used to live back there.
Any other services you're familiar with?
Not as familiar.
Okay.
I mean, I do the research.
It's okay if you don't, I'm just asking a question.
I'm one of those who likes to research and look into things. So obviously the last couple weeks I've been, scaling through the website and digging into the past meetings, watching the YouTube videos and trying to familiarize myself a little bit. There's a lot. And there's no way that I think any one person can learn it in just 2 weeks' time. I think that it's immerse yourself in the process.
We learn to do something every time we look at that budget.
Are you familiar with the duties of a township trustee?
I would equate it to, relate it to something similar to what I did as president of the Women of the Moose. Help oversee the budget, make sure the bills get paid, listen to the concerns of the, in this case, the community, and address things accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
So you said you did some research and you watched the videos. What was your impression of what they were trying to accomplish? I don't know how, because that was just the last 4 years that got put into place. What are your feelings there, and does that give you any ideas? Because one of the things you're tasked with as a township trustee is a strategic vision. What is your vision?
Well, I personally think that the videos are a great tool. I think that there needs to be more, become more prevalent. You have information a little bit on the website. I mean, even for this meeting, there was nothing out there about it even happening. I didn't know about it until you told me about it. So I think that there needs to be more communication and more of a push so that more people not only view it online, but again, come here to see it for themselves and interact.
Sure.
So.
So you hit on a couple things. One is the number of people that attend the meeting. This is probably normal, if not maybe just a couple more regulars at the meetings. 4 years ago, it was standing room only, as you know. I mean, pretty much. So I think taking the input from the folks in the township and understanding it before you get to a meeting is important. So the whole research thing is what I like to hear about and things like that. So that's good. I had a question in there. Don't want to steal one of yours. You talked about, and that's a high level problem, fixing Illinois' problems. Do you see the townships as being part of that problem?
No.
And then you talk about reducing the salaries of officials. So what do you think the township board is worth?
Well, I don't know how much y'all get paid. I don't need to know how much y'all get paid, but if this is your...
I can tell you. So,
Good.
Part-time.
It's a volunteer thing.
The number's out there, you can find it.
I think that there's too many government officials that make a career out of it, and there's no term limits, and that's problematic. Because you get the same people in over and over and over again, and they're not helping the problem, they're exasperating the problem. If you're not bringing new people in with new ideas and a fresh start, you're going to have the same crap on a different day. So financially, I think that if they're not, and this is why I said that in my questionnaire, if they're not paid $120,000, $200,000, whatever they make, then there's less of an incentive for them to make a career out of it. Go in, do your term, do your job, do what the constituents ask you to do, and go back.
Neil?
In interest in your background in some of the civic groups that you've been, you mentioned Women of the Moose, I see JCs and some other civic groups. Talk about some of the duties that you've had and just kind of the background in terms of skills that you would bring forward.
Well, we can go even all the way back. I participated in an Illinois governmental internship program, so I spent 4 months down in Springfield seeing how our government was run. As an 18-year-old, not impressed. But it gave me an idea of these people are there to vote for you. So they should listen to you. And a lot of the politicians were, well, you're really not old enough yet to vote, because I was only 17. So they didn't take me seriously. And I think that that's a big mistake. Regardless of your age, take everybody seriously, because they can make or break you. For the JCs, lots of committees. Favorite one was when they did the 4th of July party in the park, and I coordinated the event, the big show, the stage. Women of the Moose, again, went through all of the levels. I started at the bottom, started with Secretary Treasurer, getting involved, taking notes, reading the notes, to junior regent, to senior regent, and then graduated out of it. And it was interesting to see from the budget standpoint, because when you just go to the meetings, you don't know what bills are actually being presented, what things you need to pay for, like postage. I think some of the members just took that for granted. So it was interesting to be able to balance it and always have money left over that you can then gift back to. In our case, it was Moose Haven or Moose Heart.
I see, okay. And in your professional background, tell some of the qualifications that you have there.
Well, currently I'm a project manager at a plumbing company all the way out in Gurnee.
Okay.
It's a juggling of tasks, and no day is ever the same. And a singular phone call can just throw the whole day off. Yeah, you get the sewer back up, and now you have to redirect where the guys are going. So you're taking from, one emergency to the next emergency. But part of the project management is working with new construction and residential and commercial, as well as renovations, and step by step starting the process, helping with permitting, and all the way through waivers and payments, and so the whole gamut. Favorite part of that is the creativity with the fixtures and making sure that what they select actually works. So it's a lot of investigative, a lot of research, a lot of out of my comfort zone. Didn't know anything about plumbing until I started there. I'm a little bit more.
You work with some of the local government agencies and.
I work with mostly municipalities, helping get do the letters of intent, the permits, the bonds.
Sure, okay. All right. Thank you.
Do you know the term is, how long the term is?
I'm sorry?
The length of your term, to put you to board, what do we have for election? I guess the question is, you don't know how long of a term you'll be a trustee for.
I'm assuming 2 to 4, and if it's longer, it's longer.
It's a 4-year term, probably have 3 years left. About 2.5 years left.
Okay.
I went to ask the others and I forgot.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how. I know some places are 2 years, some places are 4 years. I wasn't sure which this one was.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dean.
First of all, your comment with your mother, the senior bus program was very deep in my heart for the last, and I fought it hard. There's few things I've ever fought as hard for and prayed for as much as that senior bus program. So, I mean,
Thank you.
Thank you. But one of my questions is really, why do you want, when I first ran for election, that was one of the questions that I was asked is, why would you want to do this? And I have to ask you that, why would you want to do this?
In all honesty, I see on the news and I see the negativity, and even my own 15-year-old daughter will talk to kids at school or read a singular post online or get a minuscule of information and get so angry with how government is and how things just are terrible and she needs to leave the country. And I look at her, I'm like, you don't understand. Oh no, I completely understand. I saw this here. Okay, you saw one thing, one place, but did you look anywhere else? Well, no. And what it came down to is I told her, if you want change to happen, you need to be the change. So the best way to be a change is to start local, because I believe local government impacts you personally most, and it's the first line, and then from there, move forward. So I'm doing this to show her, you got to put your, put your heart into it, and don't be discouraged, and get all the information and be that catalyst for change. Trying to be a role model.
Very good. Thank you.
I got nothing.
You have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Next.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
you can
welcome.
stay.
I'll move over.
Thanks for the interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very excited.
Well, I didn't officially ask, but I gotta ask.
Yes.
The paperwork that came, are you a Trump supporter?
I'm a
She
Republican.
didn't answer that question, just so you know.
What?
She didn't answer that question.
She didn't?
I'm a Republican.
That's,
What's in her paperwork?
gotta be fair, gotta ask
I
everybody,
hear
right?
you, I hear you.
I wouldn't raid the White House, we'll put it that way.
Hello.
Welcome. Feel free to sit down and get comfortable.
I'm all right. It's been a while.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming out this evening. And number two, showing interest in the open township position. We truly appreciate it. Being new to the supervisor position and having to replace somebody, never done it before.
Yeah.
So bear with me, and this is new. The
Absolutely.
whole in front of an open meeting
It's new
thing
for all of us,
is
so.
new. So I do appreciate it. I guess, you know, I'll defer to the trustees if they have something right away. Or I would start with a question that is, you know, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Professional, family.
Professional.
So
A little bit of everything. How about it?
Sure. So again, my name's Adam Shaver. Wife and I live in Johnsburg. Professionally, I have been in a very much sales related environment or field for a little over 15 years. Number of companies. For a long time, I actually worked down the street at the Chase Bank right here in Johnsburg. And so more recently, the last 7 years, I've been with a company called Stericycle, and they handle regulated medical waste. So one of the fields that right now is very in demand as a result of the pandemic. I started there as an account manager, so I was working with large customer groups and ultimately doing some form of sales. And in the last few years, a little over 2 years ago, I moved over to our pricing and contracting team. So what I'm responsible for now there is large contract negotiations, pricing negotiations, and more so assisting our sales teams on negotiating with their customers, so negotiating as the vendor. So a lot of experience regarding pricing analytics, contract negotiation, pricing strategy. So my wife jokes every time someone in the family is getting an apartment or something, I end up having to review their rental contract. So my career is very much analytical, data analytics, pricing analytics.
How familiar are you with the township and the services we provide?
Very familiar. So in addition to my professional, my career, a few years ago, my wife moved to Johnsburg. We started the What's Going On Johnsburg Facebook group, just more so for information, but through that learned a lot about the township and the different things that are available to the community. My knowledge of the township and the services really became most prevalent when the senior bus thing was going on a little while back. So obviously we have the senior services and social services. There's the food pantry, the township assessor, so property values, also the road district, which I think we all take for granted, but yeah, so everything that the county sort of doesn't directly handle for our small little niche of the area.
Very good. What do you think you can bring to the board to help us become a better and improved board?
So there's two different ways I could look at that. So personally or professionally. So I think from a professional standpoint, sure. From a professional standpoint, you know, thinking back to what happened when the senior bus services were being examined and attempted to be consolidated, it's like a really small line item on the overall budget as a whole. The township had like $1.6 million last year that they have to manage, and a lot of that has to do with contracts and vendors and payroll, and I think that a lot of the different things that are dealt with on a day-to-day basis are things that it's easier to negotiate and maybe save money for the township than it would be to have to replace someone or replace a service or go out and find something that you're starting from scratch, right? Like it's one of the things that I encounter on a daily basis. Our customers would rather work with us on pricing versus have to go secure another vendor. It's a really tough call. So from a professional standpoint, I definitely think that I can help negotiate pricing and other vendor relationships. From a personal standpoint, I'm a firm believer that if you're not happy with something that's going on in your local community, you need to try to work to change it. And I think a lot of people are, it's, you know, especially with COVID and everybody being used to being behind a camera for work or not in the office, it's very easy to just start spewing, you know, hate and discontent, but nobody that expresses displeasure, for the most part, actually takes an action to try to fix it. So I think that get involved if you want to see something improved.
Very good. Last question I have is length of term. Do you know how long the term is?
Is it 4 years?
Yes, sir.
Until
Yeah,
the
3
next
years left.
election? Yeah, so.
3 years left. That's all I got.
Are you familiar with the duties of a township trustee?
Yeah, so basically, my understanding is that the trustees are put forward to do a multitude of things, but the main one is really to just implement and audit. So township meetings will happen, different agendas will be put forward. It's your guys' responsibility to sort of administrate and make sure that all happens. But then also auditing things like one of the pieces of research I did was pulling up the budget and looking at the line items in the budget. And as I understand, you guys are responsible for auditing that and making sure that the expenses are legitimate and that things are happening the way they should be.
Thank you.
In terms of full disclosure, I work for Walgreens, so I'm very familiar with Stericycle,
Yeah.
as we work with them on a regular basis and what they do. Talk about your professional background in terms of some of the skills that you would bring forward. You mentioned, some of the projects that you've worked on. Just kind of expand on that, if you would.
Yeah, so I'm in an interesting role because I can see what, at least, like just for a moment, maybe focus on my company. So I've been in a position where I'm trying to sell services to someone, and now I'm in a position where, because of that knowledge, I can help my people do better at selling to someone else. But I'm using data and information that I can get about both what we have to offer and what the other companies that we're trying to attract are looking for. I can use all that information to make, frankly, a better sales pitch. I call Comcast once every 3 years to try to negotiate and fight my bill down, and sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But I would like to think that I've learned enough to understand that both people on the sides of a negotiation want something. So if you can find something that's mutually beneficial, then everybody wins, for the most part. I think that my understanding of that piece, coupled with the data analytics and the contract negotiation aspect, would bring a huge benefit to the board. Again, I don't know all of your personal professional backgrounds. I work for Walgreens. So there could be a component of that there already. I would like to think that I would have a sort of fresh perspective.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
I think if you're taking, I already said this probably, I think if you're taking time to fill out the information that the Mchenry Township GOP sent you.
Sure.
We've had access to that also.
Okay.
As they provide. One of the things, and it's kind of along those lines, is you talked about stop the unnecessary programs and things of that nature. Do you feel there are any programs in the township that you know of that are unnecessary today?
No. No, if anything, I'd like to see, I think a lot of residents, including myself, would like to see more, frankly.
Yeah. I think one of the things that, I apologize, I shouldn't have done that. Emergency assistance was reinstated. Is that something that's needed, do you think?
Absolutely.
I don't have much of anything else. I'll be very candid. I think I stated at the beginning is that the trustees are the ones who are charged with the strategic direction and the oversight and things of that. I'm their employee. But I do have an opportunity to recommend and discuss, and like everybody wants to do is research, so I get that opportunity as you do. So I appreciate it. I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, you do. Well, your Trump question.
Oh, were you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay, I just wanted to
Nobody
make sure
wants to
everybody.
expand on it. But I don't have anything else, Adam. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Dan, do you have anything else?
Just one question, why would you want to be a trustee?
I think it's a good first step. So you'll see from what I filled out that I've not had any formal local governmental experience.
That's good.
So I think, yeah. So I think it's a good starting point to really learn more and get more involved. Obviously, it all started from my political views and sort of your all political views and leanings. So yeah, I would honestly appreciate the opportunity to just learn more.
Do you have any, oh, sorry.
I don't have any other questions, but I can't tell you how impressed I am with the quality of the applicants. I'm just blown away. I mean, it's incredible.
This is night number 1. We have 3 more tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I spoke to some tonight. People that apply.
No, so I'm really amazed at the number of folks that are this interested in wanting to do it too. I thought there was going to be significantly less. But thank you. I don't have any other question other than a general question for all the applicants. You mentioned it. How did you guys hear about the open position?
I honestly think I saw a Facebook post
So
with a
Facebook.
link to the McHenry GOP.
Oh, okay, through the party. Okay. Okay.
From my next door neighbor, he's one of the,
Precinct committee.
Oh, okay. So from precinct committee,
Word of mouth.
word of mouth.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, checked out the website.
It was posted in the newspaper.
Didn't see it.
Yeah, so that tells you how much Shaw Publications has everybody reading the newspaper every day.
It was on the sign up front here.
It's been on the sign out front, so,
And it was on our website.
yeah, and on our website, so. It's good information to know. Personally, just letting you know a little bit about me, that's one of the things we have to fix. We have to get the message out on what we're doing.
Correct.
And what has been done. You know, the senior bus service, so there's a lot of things flying around the internet on it, which is good. But we need to do other conventional ways and get to groups that aren't getting their information in the traditional ways that may be serviced by that bus service. So that's kind of my goal. I've talked to you about that numerous times. But, so I appreciate it. If, you know, just kind of an open format at this point in time, I would just say if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We'll answer them. If not, what I'll do is move down to the agenda to old business. I don't think, do we really have any old business? Any board member comments?
No,
Okay.
again,
Then
great applicants, not a doubt.
we're not going to go into executive session this evening. In the efforts of fairness, there were a few people that thought they were going to be able to make it, but they were not unable to make it this evening. So we're going to continue this meeting. I'd like to get a motion to continue this meeting.
Continue the meeting
I'll second.
till tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Yeah. And since we're not spending money, this is a voice vote, right?
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? No nays. So we are officially in recess until tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. We'll come back at the same time. That's
Yeah,
it.
thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, they might have one more question, how they be notified of our decision, you know?
How?
Yeah, do we need to be here tomorrow?
Yeah, it's like.
No, you don't need to be here tomorrow.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Again, thank you all for coming out.
So I've learned fast. If you spend money, you have to take a roll
what's the
call.
population of the township?
Household or population?
It's like, don't quote me, I think it's 11,000.
No, it's more than that.
It's like 47,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're closer. The
12,000.
city of Academy's close to 25,000.
Well, they're not really upset because they only got 3,000 votes.
Because, well, you got Johnsburg that's 6,000, you got Mchenry that's in the 30s, the high 30s.
You got all of McHenry
No,
Township?
no, south of Dartmoor kind of is not in the township. Then you've got, that's Nunda, and then you've got up to Miller Road, kind of Johnsburg going across. in Ringwood, and then up into Wonder Lake, and then down Wonder Lake, and it's all on this side of the lake. We don't have the other side. So, yeah, so it's a significant number. It's probably I bet you it's in the 20s, mid-20s.
Not more than 20s. Mchenry County.
It's 12,000
No,
units,
McHenry's
it's 12,000
That's what I'm saying, so
housing.
you're saying 12,000. It's a lot more than
12,000
that.
housing units.
And he's talking population, I believe, right?
Because with this new addition of
It's in the
potentially
mid-70s.
4,000, it's like 35% increase
Yeah.
with that Wonder Lake subdivision.
Yeah. But no, to answer that question, no, you don't have to come back tomorrow. I will reach out to each one of you individually and let you know what we decide. If you choose to come tomorrow night, you're more than welcome to come. We would appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
When you watched the YouTube, did you watch the ones previous